The NBA draft lottery happened today, and the order is now officially set, with the Minnesota Timberwolves earning the first overall pick. The question is now for them, what do they do with it? Do they use it as trade bait and try pair Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell up with another star player, or do they keep it and select a new young talent? I'm going to be deep diving into all of the options for them in today's video and giving my opinion on what route they should go with this valuable number 1 pick. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 15,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so all support would be greatly appreciated. But with that all being said, let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves had quite a disappointing season yet again in 2020, still failing to get any real shot at making the playoffs. Coming into the NBA lottery, the Wolves had a bottom 3 record, so they were as likely to get the first pick as anyone, and luckily came out on top. This now gives them the best opportunity to upgrade their team, either with some fresh talent out of college or an international league, or use their pick to trade with another team for a star. Let's take at the first option. If the Wolves decide to keep their pick and draft someone, who should they draft? The first player that immediately comes to mind for me that would be a good fit in Minnesota is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards had a great season at Georgia, averaging 19-5 for the year, and though his team did struggle a bit wins-wise this year, Edwards was by far a standout player and is a consensus top 3 pick for this year's draft. I'm a big fan on his fit on Minnesota too. The Wolves have a great center in Towns, a great young guard in D'Lo, and I think since the Wiggins experiment didn't really work out, I think another guard like Edwards would be a good fit for the Wolves system. Though he may not get much shots compared to if he was drafted to a team like the Hornets, Edwards would learn so much behind guys like Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, and it would speed up his development a ton. This isn't the best option for Minnesota in my opinion, but I think Edwards would be a great selection nonetheless if they take him. He's arguably the best player in this class. With that being said though, there is one player in particular I'd really like Minnesota to take, and though it's a bit controversial, some people aren't really huge fans of it, I definitely am, and I hope to see it happen. I want the Minnesota Timberwolves to draft Lamelo Ball. To me, his selection to Minnesota is an underrated destination for him, and a great one at that. The Timberwolves are lacking a point guard to run the offense and be the number 1 playmaker, and whilst Karl Anthony Towns is a very underrated playmaker, he's still mainly a scorer, and the same goes with D'Lo. To be honest, apart from Cat and D'Lo, and I guess Malik Beasley too, the Wolves roster is extremely weak. Lamelo Ball would add to the young core of Minnesota and hopefully become an instant contributor at the starting point guard spot, as well as bringing some hype back to the Minnesota franchise. He'd be behind D'Lo and Cat of course, limiting his opportunities a bit, but as I said with Edwards, I think playing behind stars like them will give him plenty of education on how to play at an NBA level, and I don't think playing behind them will hurt him too much. At the end of the day, the Wolves have a superstar big man, a superstar guard, and though it may seem they need a wing, Wiggins didn't work in their system. Lamelo Ball's playmaking will be a huge addition to the roster and potentially make them a playoff team, finally, after all these years of disappointment. So those are the 2 players I think should be at the top of Minnesota's draft board, and I think either selection would be a great pick for them in their current situation. However, I think maybe getting another young player to add to their core isn't necessarily what they should be after, as they look to make a playoff push in the tough Western Conference. Getting this pick creates an opportunity for the Wolves to go out and trade for yet another all-star caliber player to join Cat and Russell and make them one of the most threatening young teams in the league. But who should they go after? The first guy that obviously comes to mind and everyone would be hyped to see in a Minnesota uniform is Devin Booker. Devin Booker hasn't exactly expressed frustration with the Suns franchise as a whole, just more so angry at the fact that they haven't found a way to win consistently yet, until the NBA restarted obviously. If the Suns make some dodgy moves in the offseason that upset him, Booker may request a trade, or the Wolves may put together a compelling enough package for him. We'll have to wait and see, but having Booker on the Wolves is a very interesting idea. For the Wolves, this obviously makes sense. Back in November, in a Slam magazine interview, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell, and Devin Booker talked about the dream they share of wanting to play together. They didn't know when or where it would happen, but it was something they wanted to do at one stage. Well, at the trade deadline, the Minnesota Timberwolves completed one part of the process by trading for D'Angelo Russell. Now it seems like Devin Booker is up next. By making this trade, Minnesota would make their superstar in Cat happy, reducing the likelihood he requests a trade from them, which almost happened at the trade deadline this year. The big three of Towns, D'Lo, and Booker would be absolutely insane and could propel the Wolves into the playoff picture finally after all the disappointing years they've had recently. Though they lose quite a bit of depth from this trade most likely, I'd expect role players to be heavily attracted to Minnesota due to the big three, which would allow Minnesota to build it back up and make them a legitimate contender as the three superstars enter their prime. The only big issue here is that this team would have little to no defense, which could be a big issue and hold them back from doing any real damage. This is why I have another player in mind who may be a bit more unrealistic of a target, but will be a better fit for the Wolves in my opinion. That player is Ben Simmons. Simmons is an elite level NBA defender and should be on the all-defensive first team this season. The big reason why Simmons has struggled on Philadelphia at times is due to a lack of spacing, and there are constant rumors swirling about the 76ers potentially blowing things up this summer. As mentioned, the 76ers lack spacing, and Minnesota has exactly that, with guys like Karl Anthony Towns and Malik Beasley being elite deep shooters this past season. Though Minnesota would likely have to give up D'Angelo Russell and the pick for Ben Simmons, I think it would be worth it. The duo of Simmons and Towns just fits so perfectly, I think they'd really benefit off each other. So again, whilst this deal may be difficult to pull off, if the Wolves get the chance to do so, they pull the trigger every single time. Overall, this is what I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves should do with the first overall pick in this year's draft. I personally don't believe drafting another young player would benefit them instantly like trading for a star would, so if they get the opportunity to get a guy like Booker or Simmons for the right price, I suggest they do. However, this isn't just any ordinary pick. The Wolves have the best pick possible and could possibly draft an all-NBA caliber player with it. So this decision of what to do with it should not be taken lightly. If they do decide to draft someone, I think Lamelo Ball is the best way to go, but I also rate Anthony Edwards as well, so either is a good idea to me. At the end of the day, the draft is ages away, so the Wolves have a lot of time to make phone calls and think things over. But if it was up to me, right here, right now, I am trading this pick for another All-Star to try ensure that this team is a playoff side next season. And that will conclude the video. What do you guys think of this? What should the Minnesota Timberwolves do with the first overall pick in your opinion? Do they trade it or use it to draft someone? Let me know all your thoughts on this down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.